On today's primetime local news, the deep freeze is affecting wait times for tow trucks. You could be waiting more than 3 hours in the cold.
We've gone from a half an hour, we've jumped up to about 3 hours now for wait time on trucks.
And RCMP get one-on-one feedback from residents on how to make the border city safer.
Just being able to have conversations with people and really determine what they're seeing.
And December numbers show just how much the olive tree was able to help families in need last year. Plus, Lakeland women's basketball team head into the weekend for their toughest games yet.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
With the freezing cold temperatures, this week has been a busy one for tow truck companies around the border city. Midway Auto Body and Towing have 5 trucks currently on call, but with the current weather, they've seen a rise in those needing boosts for their cars as well as accidents, meaning the wait time has gone up significantly.
We've gone from a half an hour, we've jumped up to about 3 hours now for wait time on trucks. Depending on the criticalness of a call. I mean, if somebody on the side of the highway or what have you is at risk, then we break away and get that to them immediately. So if somebody's sitting at home, they're going to, we may have suggest we're going to be there in a couple hours, and it ends up being 3 or 4. That's because we have to look after people that are on the highway, triage it, I guess.
Vince Scott says they don't have a preference on where they get their call from, but most of the time calling them directly instead of AMA or CAA is the best bet.
If they call us direct. Typically we can get there within that hour to 3 hour window. Otherwise you got to wait for AMA to contact us or CAA to contact us. But for the most part, we treat everybody as fairly as we can, as equally as we can.
Scott also recommends to make sure your block heater, battery, and extension cords are working properly to avoid needing to boost your vehicle during this freezing weather. The Lloydminster RCMP is developing its plans and priorities for 2020 with the help from the public. Wednesday's town hall was a chance for the community to give their thoughts on crime. Eric Bay has more.
Lloydminster residents came to the Legacy Center and voiced their concern on multiple topics regarding crime in the city, and a few of those points stuck out to RCMP members.
People are concerned about and frustrated about some of the issues stemming from things like substance abuse, drug dealing, that type of thing, as well as reiterating that focusing on taking an intelligence-led perspective on offender management, as well as putting policing resources in the areas where they're needed the most is kind of the biggest takeaways that I've seen.
Public engagement was also something that was discussed, with multiple people mentioning the need to be informed about what is happening in the community.
Perhaps there's an opportunity for the Lloydminster RCMP and the community to be more engaged through regular updates, regular communication, whether it's through media, social media, whatever it may be, but just to have that constant communication with the community.
In the past, feedback has been gathered online, but the RCMP wanted to get Lloydminster residents more involved with creating their plans and priorities moving forward.
We have done surveys in the past, which is a good way of getting information quickly, but I think just being able to have conversations with people and really determine what they're seeing and co-creating solutions to move forward is very, very important as well, because if the community is part of developing the policing strategies, then perhaps collaboration there might be a little bit of enhanced ownership from the police and as well as the community to work together.
The Lloydminster RCMP will be holding another town hall Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
City Council updated the notice of intent to annex lands in the county of Vermilion River as presented, then directed administration to proceed with the formal annexation process. This puts the timeline slightly behind what was initially hoped for, but Deputy Mayor Michael Diachuk says it's important no errors are made.
There's a little wiggle room relative to saying we didn't do what we were supposed to do in terms of the whole process. So the time spent is worth it in order to ensure that when you eventually present to the MGB to say here's our our proposal for annexation, there are no gaps.
And one of the additions is some clarity on communicating the process to the public.
which really refers to the external communications of people who may be affected by that annexation process. I mean, that just covered another base that otherwise, you might have been asked for it.
The annexation would add nearly 1,800 hectares of land to the city. While the Olive Tree Community Center received a lot of support this holiday season and continues to collect donations in the new year, with 117 food hampers distributed and over 1,200 meals served, the Olive Tree had generous donations for December. During the holidays, different foods, items, and clothing were needed to fill their hampers for families.
So December, our hampers are a little bit different. We order in a bunch of fresh stuff, so then they can have a full Christmas meal. So it's potatoes and a ham or a turkey and all of those things. And then some Christmas treats, pancake syrup and mix, fruit, all those kind of things that just kind of make it extra special for the families that receive those hampers.
For January, they're looking for any type of monetary donations while their thrift store takes in clothing and household goods. They hope to meet the needs of the community members as they come by and strive to go above and beyond each month.
Lots of canned vegetables, lots of canned meat, school snacks, all of those things. And right now we're especially short on some toiletries, so toothbrushes and toothpaste and kind of shampoo, conditioner, and all of those items that we add in as well.
Thompson says they have an exciting new opportunity coming up in the spring, and they can't wait to see how it will affect Lloydminster. Technology has been changing and evolving for decades. The use of technology in the classroom is being used more and more every day. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, our Abby St. John highlights a coding and computer science program at Bishop Lloyd Middle School that expands the use of technology a little further.
Grade 9 students at Bishop Lloyd Middle School have the option to take the computer sciences program where they learn how to use computer coding to make objects work or manipulate physical objects.
So right now students are working with the Arduino boards, and essentially it's like lights and circuits, and they use the computer programming to make those function.
The project the students are working on may seem like an easy task, but is actually quite difficult.
We're learning how to code typing in computer code that computers can actually recognize and be able to make like small projects such as like the blinky that we're doing right now. It's a light that turns on and off, which may sound very simple, but it's very complicated when you look at the code.
Students are given the option to take this program, and they all have unique reasons why.
I got into computer science a while back, and I love coding, so I figured that for an options class I'd take this course, and it so far has paid off.
I love computer stuff. My dad's a computer tech, so I just know a lot of computer stuff, and coding is something that I know a little bit about, and I want to do a little bit more. It's fun to do.
I thought it was going to be really interesting to learn how to actual code by hand, and it is.
Not only is this program interesting and fun for the students, it's also a skill they can use after they graduate from school.
Computer science as a whole is a pretty major field, especially for as they graduate. There's going to be a lot of computer science jobs open. Pretty much every different line of work now has something to do with computer science. So it's really important for these guys to learn computer science so they can access those skills and those jobs.
The program runs 2 courses over the school year and is run in multiple schools within LPSD, including at the high school level. For this week's Beyond the Classroom, I'm Abby St. John.
Beyond the Classroom is brought to you by Lakeland College. Apply today to environmental sciences. Study soils, plants, ecosystems, wildlife, and more.
Well, another day of extreme cold temperatures. Here's our Abby St. John with what to expect with the weather.
Thanks, Judy. And officially, Alberta, the whole province of Alberta and Saskatchewan are under an extreme cold warning. In fact, most of BC and now Manitoba is under that extreme cold warning as well. So definitely be cautious if you're going outside anywhere in Alberta or Saskatchewan, because it's going to be very, very cold, as we've seen throughout the last couple of days and today especially. Minus 33 currently here in Lloydminster. We now have we broke the record for the coldest low of the one back in the 90s was the last time we were below minus 30 degrees. That was the record low back in the 90s. We are now beating that with minus 33 throughout today. 12-kilometer-per-hour winds coming in from the west, making it feel closer to minus 43 with that wind chill. Across Alberta, minus 31 in Cold Lake, Athabasca and Rocky Mountain House, minus 29 in Edmonton and Edson, minus 30 in Whitecourt, minus 34 in Red Deer, minus 28 in Jasper. On the Saskatchewan side, minus 30 in Meadow Lake, minus 29 in Prince Albert, minus 33 in Melfort, minus 34 in Saskatoon, minus 32 in North Battleford. Overnight in North Battleford, the temperature will drop to minus 39, and then the temperature tomorrow would be a daytime high of minus 26. However, that wind will be coming in from the east-southeast at 22 kilometers per hour. Overnight in Cold Lake, the temperature will drop to minus 38, and then a daytime high of minus 26 for tomorrow, and that wind will be at 13 kilometers per hour coming from the east-southeast. Here in Lloydminster overnight, there's a chance that we could see some snowfall overnight with the temperature dropping to minus 38, and then a daytime high of minus 27 for tomorrow, and that wind will be at 13 kilometers per hour coming from the east-southeast. The temperature will feel closer to minus 33, however, with that wind chill, and a low of minus 38. On Friday, there's a 57% chance of snowfall with a high of minus 24, which will feel closer to minus 39 and a low of minus 28. On Saturday, a high of minus 25, which will feel closer to minus 33 and a low of minus 29. That's a look at your 3-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. The federal and Saskatchewan governments are spending $11 million on crop research projects. The goal is to help producers increase crop production in the province to 45 million metric tons. The research will focus on how to manage clubroot, mitigate herbicide resistance, and add value to commodities. The government say the projects are awarded on a competitive basis to researchers looking to examine areas of importance to Saskatchewan producers. The research is being partly funded by the Western Grains Research Foundation, Saskatchewan Canola Development Commission, Saskatchewan Wheat Development Commission, Alberta Wheat and Barley Commission, Manitoba Wheat and Barley Growers Association, Saskatchewan Flax Development Commission, Saskatchewan Forage Seed Development Commission, Saskatchewan Cattlemen's Association, Genome Canada, and the Canadian Wheat Research Coalition. Well, hemp growers who were joyous a year ago after U.S. lawmakers reclassified the plant as a legal agricultural crop now are worried their businesses could be crippled if federal policy makes a move ahead with draft regulations. Licenses for hemp cultivation topped 200,000 hectares last year. That is up more than 450% above 2018 levels. So there's intense interest in the rules the U.S. government is creating. Growers are concerned that the government wants to use a heavy hand that could result in many crops failing required testing and being destroyed. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, the agency writing the rules, estimated 20% of hemp lots would fail under the proposed regulation. Most of the anxiety involves how the federal government plans to test for THC, the high-inducing compound found in marijuana and hemp. Both cannabises are plants, of course. Now here are your agriculture prices for today.
We're a
part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Lakeland basketball teams begin the second half of the season with a tough road in Fort McMurray. For the women, not only is it a stern test after 6 weeks off, as Josh Ryan explains, it will go a long way in deciding first place.
In ideal circumstances, Chris King would like his squad to build up before taking on top opponents. However, they start January with the opposite situation, a showdown with the other 10-2 squad in the north, the Keano College Huskies.
You'd love to play that game later in the year when you worked out the kinks, but you can't control your schedule, so it should be an interesting weekend.
Building on the continuity carried over from their bronze medal finish is critical heading into the marquee matchup.
We need to keep hustling. We need to keep making sure we're gelling as a team, defensive rotations and things like that.
There's times where we're getting there, and I think there's still like a couple things we need to work on, but I think figuring out that chemistry ASAP is the most important thing because we got to take them down this weekend.
The break has benefited the wrestlers from a health perspective, though they needed an exhibition game last week to test their conditioning.
Just something to kind of get us back and rolling in game condition.
But if you get caught up and down the floor with them, they'll wear you out because they are a pressing team. So for us, it's staying in the half court, defending, making them take tough shots, and one and done for us, but if we can stop Moyen, we should have a good shot at winning.
Rookie Taylor Pipes should get a few extended minutes after being limited by an ankle injury in the fall.
We're seeing some of the things that we saw early in the year before injury. She can attack the hoop, she can shoot it. I would bet she's probably our best rebounding guard. So for her to be out there and be a physical guard, we're looking forward to having it.
And that can only strengthen the belief the wrestlers have that 2020 is their year.
We know that we have the capability to win it all, so I think that that's really exciting to see, and I think everyone's really pumped about that.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
And now to weather with our Abby St. John.
Thanks, Judy. Taking a look at satellite radar, there's a bit of a chance that we could see some snowfall here in Lloydminster overnight and into early tomorrow morning. Up in Cold Lake, they'd been experiencing a little bit of snowfall, and then in the Battlefords as well, just a little bit here and there, a little bit outside of Edmonton as well. Minus 33 currently here in Lloydminster, as well as in Maidstone and St. Walburg. Minus 32 in Macklin and in North Battleford. Minus 30 in Meadow Lake and Green Lake. Minus 31 in Pearceland. And minus 29 in Isle of Cross. On the Alberta side, minus 33 in Marwayne and Bonnyville. Minus 34 in Vermilion and Lac La Biche. Minus 31 in Cold Lake and down in Provost. Minus 36 in St. Paul. Minus 35 in Vegreville and Wainwright. Minus 29 out in Edmonton. And tomorrow, minus 27 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Marwayne, St. Paul, Edmonton, and Vermilion. Minus 26 in Provost, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Lac La Biche. Minus 28 in Vegreville and in Wainwright. On the Saskatchewan side, minus 24 in Macklin and St. Walburg. Minus 26 in Maidstone, North Battleford, and Pearceland. Minus 25 in Meadow Lake and Green Lake. And minus 27 in Isle of Cross. Overnight across the region under that extreme cold warning for the entirety of Alberta and Saskatchewan. So definitely be cautious about that if you're going outside for any long periods of time. Make sure you are bundled up and your car is plugged in. In Unity, Wainwright, and Provost, they could experience some snowfall overnight and temperatures minus 37 in Meadow Lake, minus 34 in Isle of Cross, minus 38 in Pearceland and in Bonnyville and in Wainwright, minus 39 in Paradise Hill, Unity, and Murnum, and minus 36 out in Provost for your overnight temperatures. Your school day forecast for tomorrow: cloud coverage throughout the majority of the day. 8 a.m. minus 32, and then by the time recess rolls around, it'll be minus 30. By the time lunch rolls around, it'll be minus 28, and then school's out, it'll be minus 28. And then there is a low of minus 38 overnight. And then Friday, there's a 57% chance of snow
with a high of -24 and a low of -28. On Saturday, to start your weekend off, a high of -25 and a low of -29. On Sunday, a low of also -29 and a high of -22. On Monday, to start your week off, the temperatures get warmer with a high of -10 and a low of -24 with a mix of sun and cloud. Then on Tuesday, it'll be a high of -4 and a low of -13 to look forward to with a sunny day. And then on Wednesday, a high of -7 and a low of -12 with a fairly cloudy day. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news in the question of the day coming up after the break.
It's cold, and I'm sure a lot of people want to skip school. A lot of kids do. So the question of the day was, do you experience snow day? Have you ever experienced snow days when you were a kid? And is this something that we still do today? I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure that they would love to have it. I've had it when I was younger. I remember that. I loved staying home.
I never had it.
No?
No. I would go to school every single day.
Yeah.
If the buses weren't running, most of my class was pretty empty. Yeah. But we'd still carry on, like it was still a school day. The majority of our commenters said no, never had a snow day. But one did come chime in saying, I come from the East Coast and we got snow days from school every year and then from work as an adult. Living in Alberta, most people give me funny looks when I mention longing for a snow day. So I have heard that. The East Coast, they will take snow days if the mildest of snowfalls.
Yeah. It trickles and they're just like time to take some
and
time
adults
off.
get off work.
Yeah,
like
we
they
had
get
some in
snow
Alberta.
day.
What are they talking about? I mean, in Calgary, we had some of that,
Rare.
and for adults and for workers too.
It's rare. I know we were told when I was in school that the only way we'd get a snow day is if the power went off for a certain amount of time. Then they would cancel school, but it never happened. The power did go out once when I was in high school, but it came back on in like 10 minutes.
And as a kid, it's so fun. Oh my God. Anyway, let's check out some of the pets. Thanks for sending some of the pets for us for a chance to win a gift card from the Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Rustlers Athletics was shaping up to be a memorable campaign here in 2019-2020. Now that we've seen the first half of the season, the 2020 second half of the campaign is looking like it could be even more exciting for various reasons, both because teams are dominant and because teams will come right down to the wire to make the playoffs. Joining me to talk about all that is Ty Plandowski. Ty, a former coach, a student, and now very acutely involved in game day management and other aspects of the athletics program. The most exciting storyline so far for you is what from this season?
Yeah, I think the women's volleyball team is really exciting. They've got 3 rookies starting. And to lose Annika Kuz, Shelby Becker, Ray Sigurdsson, those are 3 huge names in the ACAC. And for Janae Varga, Maddie Blaine, who's a local girl, and Jana Lang to just pick up where they left off is very inspirational, and they're a very strong team now.
Absolutely. Of course, remember, there's a couple of interesting parts about those names. Janae Varga coming from a stock where her brothers had played at Augustana, and Jana Lang, of course, the younger sister of Michelle Lang, who made her name in Lakeland as the all-time blocks leader, though Jana not likely to break that record, could maybe set a few records of her own. I think that just speaks to the institutional sort of structure they've had within their program, that they lost 3 key players like that, but these other girls having the ability to redshirt have kind of built their way into the routine of the team, the habits they have, and yeah, they look like the same team. They do a lot of the same things really well.
Yeah, it goes to show with their leadership, right? Austin Dyer creates a very strong leadership role for them. So Brooklyn Bame, Avery Maginell, Bailey, Wheeler, they really just have filled in those spots that were left and created a very strong leadership for years to come.
And of course, they got the sweep to start things off last weekend against Concordia. Which do you think is going to be their toughest matchup here in the next couple of weeks?
Toughest matchup for them is probably going to be Kings, but I wouldn't say that's their most important matchup. I think them heading into Augustana, trying to get wins there because, you're wanting to come out in the higher end because Briarcrest in the south is a very, very strong team. So, they've played into Kings' favor a couple times. They played Briarcrest over Christmas break, so it'll be very interesting to see what comes out this down the stretch.
And of course, those two teams separated by one win. On the men's side of the volleyball spectrum, obviously it's exciting as well. They haven't officially clinched the playoffs yet, but in all likelihood, they are going to be one of the 4 seeds going to Lethbridge in February.
Yeah, so they were in this position last year. They were very close into a playoff spot. They just swept Concordia, which is huge. It gives them the series sweep against them, so that's a team that's trailing them. So for them to get that advantage really helps out a lot. They also will be playing Augustana, who's a very strong team. They are very good on paper, struggled first semester, so they need to get at least one game out of that to really feel good. But I don't think the guys are going to sit still with a 4th place finish, especially how strong that Lethbridge team is down south.
Absolutely, and now they have a chance actually to finish higher than 4th because they're sitting in a tie with King's University College at 9 wins. Keano, because of having had a bye to start the weekend, is also at 9 wins, so that's an important matchup right there. You can flip-flop 2nd and 3rd, and then Nate, who sat in 1st at 11-1 coming into the break, they lost 2 straight matches to Kings. So there's 4 teams that, in theory, could all vie for that number 1 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. The North is usually known for being very strong. The 1 through 4 can beat anyone. Really, 1 through 7 in the entire league can. So for Lakeland to come out, have a strong showing against Keano this weekend will be huge for them. Try and get a win or 2 at home will be very, very big for them. It's tough playing in Nate's home gym, so you kind of go there wanting for a split, but of course you'll take a sweep. And then Kings, you got to do what you did last semester. You got to take them out twice.
And of course, that's going to be a tough matchup with Kings picking up some momentum. How important do you think it is that the 2 Aussie left sides continue their output? Because Matt Peck has stepped up his offensive game. Ryan Van Oosterwyk, since coming in as a starter in place of Alexei Walliser, has filled in nicely, really done a good job on the ball control side as well. But they are still at a disadvantage physically against some of these top teams. So staying healthy and then also being consistent is important for them.
Yeah, consistency is a huge word for those 2 guys. They really are undersized left sides. So they really struggle against the bigger right sides. They'll face a 6'8" right side this weekend with the likes of Keano. So, Matt Peck knows the game better than most people, so he's very smart. Ryan Van Oosterwyk makes his shots. There's big plays will come out of them. You've seen them this weekend running a bit more of a fancy offense. So that's mainly authorized by Lane Blight, who's been really good for them in the early stretch of the year. And, Giancarlo, he puts the ball where it needs to be put, and Lane will set them, and they'll put balls away most of the time. Matt has one of the best efficiencies in the league.
Yeah, a real accomplishment for a guy that was recruited as a libero and is now one of the leading kill getters for all ACAC left sides.
Hey, it's Justin Marshall from Boom 95.3 and Hot 101.3 radio stations around the Lakeland. Taking a look at what's happening around the area. We're in Bonnyville, Alberta today. Coming up on Friday and Saturday here at the Bonnyville and District Centennial Center. It's their fitness open house. Sue Wojcik, the marketing director, joins me. What is this fitness open house?
Well, it is a great way for people to come here to the Bonnyville Centennial Center, see what we have to offer, try out a fitness class, meet our personal trainers, learn about great nutritional information, and take advantage of some fantastic prizes and discounts that we have.
Why'd you decide to do this, Sue?
Well, like I said, we want people to come here and see how wonderful this facility is, what we have to offer for fitness. We want them to lead an active lifestyle, and this is a great way to get started.
You can find more details at facebook.com/hot1013 or the Bonnyville and District Centennial Center. Sue, we're on spin bikes. Is there going to be a spin class in the 2 days?
Yes, so we're going to have free fitness classes over the course of the two days. So you can check out our spin class, I think is on Friday, but the fitness class schedule for those 2 days is on our website or Facebook.
Friday 5 to 8, Saturday 10 to 2. Come on down and check out the Bonnyville C2. Sue, thanks for joining me.
Thanks a lot.
And if you have an event you would like to feature on What's Happening, shoot me an email, jmarshall@stingray.com.
back in studio with Ty Plandowski to talk Lakeland Rustlers action that's coming up this weekend against the Keyano College Huskies on the volleyball side. Basketball teams on the road to Fort McMurray, of course, if the weather is conducive for that kind of travel. It's a bit of a long trip. Women's basketball, the highest ranked team nationally of any of the Rustler squads. They've continued off the momentum they had last year, winning bronze, finishing first in the North Division. But this first weekend, as we talked a little bit about earlier in the cast, could in fact be the deciding factor of who wins the division this year.
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably the biggest weekend for the women's Rustlers as they are playing Keyano, who are tied with them for first place. Keyano is very strong. They're a big physical team, which matches up with Lakeland, very similar. They gained the likes of Taylor Pipes. She'll be back and healthy, so that'll be very huge, and it'll really put a lot of depth into their team, which is something they really need because they were injury struck early in the year.
Yeah, certainly health is a big part of their success going into the second half. They had a couple of players playing hurt. Taylor was essentially reduced to either a 8th or 9th man off the bench and then not playing in some later weekends. Her adding it certainly helps. So you also kind of need someone like an Angela Barron maybe to go off and get you a 15, 20-point game against a team like this.
Yeah, Ange will really need to step up. You've seen her step up. No problem for Ange to get those kind of points in a game. You've seen it a couple times early. You also look at Haley and Jaden Cook, the two Regina girls. They'll be very important this weekend with depth with Tori Dugan and getting them in, getting them the ball. They're both very quick, so that will really help the physical game for them.
Absolutely. And then the rest of the semester, it isn't exactly a breeze, but it does take a step down in terms of intensity. Men's basketball, they were swept by Keyano in the first half. They do have a little bit more health this second half. They have a couple of new guys added to the lineup. How key would, I guess, an upset be for them, but also just trying to integrate new guys into the lineup?
Yeah, this weekend will be big for them. Keyano is first in the men's basketball division too. So for them to go in, they had two really close games at Lakeland last semester. They came down to the wire. So for them to go in, get 1 point against the top team in the north for the ACAC will be very big. I think that'll give them a lot of momentum that they'll obviously feed off that guy. Though that team is full of a bunch of hungry guys who want to win. So if you give them that little taste of winning, I'm sure it'll go a long way, especially against a team like Keyano.
And we saw Tay Holiday hanging around the team. PJ Gardner back helping out a little bit as a coach last week. But Tay Holiday missed the entire first half because of an injury. Any chance you think we see him later in the year?
He's healthy. He started practicing as of this week, but I'm not too sure that he'll be in the lineups as of quite yet. I think they'll want to save him his eligibility for next year as he is a fourth year.
Yeah, that's too bad, certainly when you have a couple other guys on the team playing in their fifth and final year. And we might as well start touch really quickly on the futsal teams. They'll be in action in some exhibition play coming up in the next month, preparing for when they host the futsal provincial championship in March. That's a big date, obviously.
Yeah, March 12th will be huge. That's when the Lakeland men open up, and along with the likes of the women. Men were silver last year, which it really is a testament to Kevin Wagner and what he's produced. They were a younger team this year on the soccer side, so for them to have as much talent as skill as they do is very impressive, and the coaching goes a long way with those guys, so it'll be very impressive.
And then lastly, a couple of other key dates to point out for the Rustlers this half.
Yeah, so this weekend we're doing a charity fundraiser for the food drive, so that'll be hosted by the Rustler volleyball teams. January 30th is our Make Some Noise for Mental Health. That's huge. Mental health is a big thing that goes on within the colleges. So for Lakeland to have the opportunity to work with RBC and helping them create really a healthy environment for student athletes and students in general really is something that Lakeland wanted to get behind.
Absolutely. And then playoffs aren't until the end of February in terms of the volleyball and basketball teams.
Yeah, so they've got quite a ways to go. They want to try and stay healthy, but it'll be interesting. They got some of the top teams in all of Canada. Lethbridge is the #1 ranked men's team in Canada, along with the likes of a top 3 placing for the Kodiaks in volleyball. So it'll be tough. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and most of those competitions as well in the southern part of the province, so maybe they'll get to enjoy slightly better weather than what we have enjoyed over the past couple of days.